Pierre LeBrun sat down with Brad Treliving, and I figured I'd kind of go through it because the article's been out all weekend. Sort of, what did we learn?
What did we learn?
And I want to know what your reaction, guys, is to some of the things that Brad Treliving says, because I think a lot of the story for the first part of this year for Leaf fans is going to be this is the first non-Dubas year since like 2014. And I know that Lamoriello ran the team, but Dubas was a huge part of the narrative always.
Dude, even my brain, when you were like, oh, he sat down Brad Treliving, and I'm like, all right, what are the Flames up to?
Let's talk to the Flames. Yeah. This is going to be a really different year. And so let's start with the Matthews extension. He said it's huge. First of all, you get one of the top players in the game done before training camp, so you guys don't have to call me about that before camp. Treliving seems to have a good sense of humor.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yes,
Number two.
He has an excellent rapport with the media.
On Nylander. He said, I'm not going to get into that play-by-play other than to say he's a very good player, and you always want to keep good players. He's told me he wants to be in Toronto. That's the most important thing. If there's a desire on both sides, then you should be able to come to an agreement. And LeBrun adds in there, they haven't hit a wall in contract talks, which is noteworthy. He said, no. We'll talk here prior to getting the season started, and we'll see where we're at. But we still have a year. And Louis Gross responded to this, and I love this.
Oh, he got both of them.
Yeah. He said, we're open to getting a deal done as well.
Oh, good. Thank you, Louis.
and LeBrun sort of editorialized here, but I thought this was key. He said, so if I were to read between the lines, I don't think the trade deadline in March will be much of a factor as long as the Leafs are contenders again. They seem to be willing to go all the way to next summer to get Nylander's contract done. Is that the right call?
Absolutely not. No. You can't. Because you're going to repeat the same mistake you've made 1,000 times. Learn, man. What is the point of getting a new guy if you're going to do all the same shit the last guy did? What's the point? JVR, no, we're going to do the own rental thing. Gone. Hyman, we're going to do... Gone.
Bozak,
gone.
Gardner.
Mikheyev, gone. Gardner, gone. You didn't get shit for any of those guys.
Anderson, injured, and then gone.
That's a little different.
That was different.
Guys, what are we doing here? Now, here. So I know I'm negative every time we talk about this because I'm so sick of talking about these contract holdups. And you know what? I've already done the Nylander one.
You've been through this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
we live this.
You ever see a preview for a sequel no one asked for? Like, no, we don't need this. We don't need this right now. But I'm just going to say this. It was encouraging. It sounds like it's heading in the right direction. But if Nylander's camp pulls this we don't want to negotiate during the season thing, trade him immediately.
Really?
Yes.
No, now isn't he on some sort of no trade or something like that?
He has trade
some protection. Modified no trade, 10-team no trade list.
Now, what he could do, I was speaking to someone about this, what he could do, and this would be risky, is just name 10 teams that you think the Leafs could potentially trade you to, right? Don't necessarily put 10 teams that you don't want to go to.
Right.
Put the 10 teams they could potentially trade you to.
That's pretty
as a negotiation.
That's pretty difficult to do on July 1st.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you could predict that.
Well, put it this way. The list would be a lot different on July 1st than it would be today because the cap situation for a bunch of teams is different.
That's what I'm saying.
You could theoretically do that. I mean, how many teams can just take on a $7 million player right now? $7 million players have been getting traded for nothing in recent memory.
Yes.
Max Pacioretty, Marc-Andre Fleury. Just Alan Walsh clients. So maybe Willie's fine.
Brent Burns was traded for basically next to nothing.
That's right.
Yeah. Eric Carlson got traded for something, but
that's right.
And I think $7 million player. You know who got traded as a $7 million player at the deadline last year?
Who?
That's right, John Klingberg. Andre Suster.
Yes.
To the Minnesota
Did
Wild.
He?
Yeah,
that was the trade?
That was the trade. And there was I think there was a pick in there or something.
Andre Suster, dude who's been around forever, whose career, like every now and then, he just pops up on the ticker.
Mm-hmm.
He's like an extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like an extra that you've seen in other movies.
Yeah.
So it's
character
distracting.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're not sure if you'll like the character.
Never in a speaking role. You're just
Yeah.
henchman number 2.
Jesse, as the GM with ice in his veins, who once in NHL traded Tavares for Lucas Raymond.
Yeah.
And alienated a bunch of people. People were so mad at you for that. What would you do here? Like, what do you think? Because, okay, Steve's saying if he starts the year and they're like, well, we won't negotiate in season, trade him immediately. I have a feeling that your opinion of that is not the same. What are your thoughts on it?
They're not saying that though. Like Louis Gross isn't saying that.
No,
right?
Steve's saying that.
Steve's making up this fake scenario. So I don't know.
This fake, scenario that happens all the time.
It does.
I don't think they get to that point where they refuse to negotiate in
I
season.
agree.
I
agree
think
with
they keep the conversation fluid and I think they'll get something done. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Has Brad Treliving made the decision that it's about keeping Nylander? It sounds like he has.
Yeah, like I get that impression.
Like,
it's not just that Willie wants to stay here; it's Brad wants to keep him.
I kind of also feel like if he didn't, he wouldn't have got the job. Is
that's a pretty good point.
Is that unfair? Like Shanahan there's a part to play in all this, right? Shanahan is the guy that Dubas tried to make the power play against in the corporate ladder and lost and then left.
Dubas was viciously loyal to the Leafs core. And the moment he blinked in that regard, the moment he alluded to maybe trading one of them, it never happened, right? Because Shanahan fired him.
Jesse, what do you do there?
I want to know what it was.
Jesse, do you think Nylander ends up traded? Do you think he ends up signed?
I don't know, because it depends on that number. Like if it comes down, I think they're going to land at a reasonable place. And the interesting thing about the Leafs salary cap is the John Tavares contract that comes off the books next season. It's
next season, eh?
It's at the end of the 2025 season.
No.
At the end of the 2025 season.
Yeah, wow.
John Tavares is a UFA.
Damn.
No.
And I find that fascinating because
Where does the time go?
right? And Mitch is a little different because I believe like he'll resign and the salary cap will be so much higher then. But JT's not resigning for $11 million. And John Tavares in that position at the age of 34 going to 35 at that point can sign like a really big reasonable discount.
I
like
think that's what's happening.
Something that'll be like $4 million, $5 million, $6 million, something.
If it's that high, I'd be shocked.
It's gonna be half or somewhere in there of $11 million, I think.
I could see 6.
And with the salary cap going up significantly, plus getting an extra, let's say it's $5 million in cap space, there's something really interesting that the Leafs could be going for here come the 2025-2026 season, because you always got to be looking ahead even though you're trying to win every single year. And with Nylander under contract at something that's works for both sides, the Leafs can be contenders for like their window here that we think, hey, it's a 3-year window or something like that. It's been extended with the Matthews deal, and now with Tavares, his contract coming a little lower, and then the salary cap going up. This window here for the Leafs could be an extra 4 years.
Damn. That's really encouraging, Jesse.
Yeah, so I
like
Nice
that.
way of putting it.
There's a lot of upside to getting this Nylander done, a deal done on a deal that works for both sides, and the Leafs keeping this window here going throughout this guy. All these 4 guys, like their entire primes.
Here's my bet.
A window where they can win. It'll be fun.
Nylander is what? He's 28, 27?
27.
Okay. So my bet is to keep the number lower. They go 5 years.
Till he's 32. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that they go between 8.5 and 9. I think that's where ultimately it settles. Would you be upset with that? That's my guess.
I'm going to give you the number, and you're going to be shocked. You know what? There is a player worth giving his jersey number. William Nylander. Give him the old 8.8.
Yeah.
Put it in the contract.
8.8. I would go as high as 8.8 the whole way through.
8's repeated with the little dash at the top.
Yes.
Love that.
I would give him that, and I don't know if people would be thrilled with that, but everyone would feel okay with it, which probably means it's fair.
Would you go into the $9 million range? Like if it was 9-1?
It would have to be like for it to start with a 9, that's sort of what it would have to be.
Also,
I think.
I don't
it would
think the
have
Leafs
to be that low.
The Leafs don't want to go beyond 4 or 5 years here, right?
No, I don't think that makes any sense.
Because you don't want to be in the 8. Although, to be honest with you, if he's still a 60 or 70 point player come year 6 of whatever this proposed deal would be, what's 8 or close to $9 million at that point? You know what? Maybe a player of that ilk is worth that much if the cap is supposed to go up by $20 million in that time.
Like the way with the cap going up, the Leafs are in just like a really interesting spot because you have all these teams like the Sabres, for example, and what they did with Dahlin.
Yep.
That are going to want to lock these guys up to $1 billion.
Rumored to have done, still not done.
Really?
Yeah, because I think there was some talk in the Athletic I was reading this morning that they were asking Kevin Adams about how the Jake Sanderson deal affected it. And he's like, oh, we don't worry about that. Yes, they do. But yeah, 10.5
what
is still
do
the
you do?
rumor.
Whoop, I signed him to too much.
I bet they get that done before the season starts, and it's a great PR move for the Sabres. They should get it done, but
right.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt that, but I just want to let you know it's not done.
I'm trying to remember where I was going. Oh yeah, but the Leafs don't want to do that. You want to do that with like, I don't know, Nyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Matthews, Marner, Nylander, no. These guys this is their prime.
Right now,
you're watching the best they're ever going to be. And 4 or 5 years from now, you won't be. You'll still be watching elite players, maybe even championship quality players, guys that could either do it here or somewhere else, more than likely somewhere else. But this is the best they'll ever be. So why are you signing them to bajillion-year contracts?
unless they want that.
If
I don't know.
If they're willing to take what Engvall did, then sure.
I'm just gonna say, should the Leafs put Nyes on an Engvall contract? 7 years, $3 million per.
He would never.
Of course not. But
He would. I think they'd request a trade with the offer. How dare you insult me?
Crazy deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to know what you guys thought of that because I'm trying. I think the number is between 8.5 and 9. I think that's the easy one.
8.8.
The question for me is we don't know how many years. We don't even have rumors on how many years that contract is supposed to be.
No.
Keep it low.
Keep it low.
You know, we don't need Nylander for 6 years.
So regarding, and this is the last thing in the Treliving thing, regarding how he wants the team to play with the additions of guys like Domi and Bertuzzi and Reeves. He said, there's a style that I think you need to have. Not only do I think it's a part of what I like, but, you know, if you look around the league, there's a type of style that you need to have success in the playoffs, and that is not changing anytime soon. So there is maybe perhaps, I mean, he is the public face of the Leafs management group. Maybe there's a some sort of recognition there. This is the first admission that I can see where the Leafs finally said, we're like publicly, we're not tough enough in the playoffs. Because if you look at their actions, Domi and Bertuzzi, they would have been players that the Leafs probably would have looked at before, but they didn't necessarily fit exactly what they would go for. Reeves especially.
Yes.
And I know people still have tons of questions about that deal. That deal, you can bury that deal, guys. Don't worry about that deal. The thing that I find very interesting is the Leafs going, okay, we're tired of getting panthered. We're tired of getting Bruined. We're tired of getting blue jacketed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I just say the new Leafs website is awful?
Oh yeah, the NHL.
Sorry, I was trying to look up the home opener and just
the NHL redid all the websites and they're terrible.
They arrange it by week.
Yeah.
Like the schedule. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Stop that.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. So here's what it's going to be.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ryan Reeves, Arbor Jackeye.
Oh, you mean game 1?
Center ice.
October 10th.
Game 1. You got like
11.
a top 5 heavyweight in the league near the end of his career and a top 5 heavyweight in the league at the beginning of his career. They're going to go toe-to-toe. Max Domi is going to try to fight. I don't know if he's going to find a dance partner. Tyler Bertuzzi is going to piss someone off. And like people are going to laugh at some of the names that I'm going to bring up, but like Sam Lafferty fights. Simone Benoit, I doubt makes the lineup, but he fights. Noah Gregor, who's on a PTO, he fights. If you go and look at every signing Treliving has made since the beginning of his Leaf tenure, every one of them fights.
Except for John Klingberg.
John Klingberg fights.
Does he fight?
He absolutely fights. Not often, but he fought Matthew Tkachuk, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the playoffs.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
I don't know if Martin
Yeah.
Jones has ever fought.
That's
about it.
Yeah.
Like the goalie. Like I don't know if the goalie fought. But
Yeah.
if you like, I don't have it in front of me. Like I don't know if Lagesson fights. I don't know if
I forgot how much Klingberg and Tkachuk hated each other. Now they're
it
back
was
in the
a
same division.
distraction. Like,
Yeah.
it was really. But if you go and look, like the guys who are going to play higher in the lineup, like a Bertuzzi or Domi, or the guys who play near the bottom and may not even make the team, all of them fight. I think game 1, the home opener, best case scenario for the Leafs, and it's been many years since we've said this, best case scenario for the Leafs is it's anarchy. I barely even care if they win.
So what are they trying to do if that's the case?
Fuck shit up.
Establish
You know
dominance?
Will Ferrell and what's his John C. Reilly?
Yeah.
When they go for the job interviews in Step Brothers and they say, what are you doing here? We're here to fuck shit up. Lose 7-2. I don't care. Just make a statement that the Leafs have changed. I think. Do you know how many people wouldn't even care that they lost if that's what they did? I'm serious.
There'd be a lot of very happy uncles.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday.
Jesse's
Wendell Clark and Doug Gilmour are a big reason why a lot of fans don't like this current team.
Well, a certain generation, maybe.
Yeah.
It's more than you think.
I don't think the kids these days are like, you know what? I miss Dougie.
The kids these days aren't the only people
Yeah.
who exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. 100%.
Like, there's a divide. You have to admit there's a divide.
Of course, and it's generational.
Yeah. I think that was the point.
Yeah.
But more of the quote-unquote kids these days are warming up to the idea of, they kind of get their ass kicked all the time, and it's a contributing factor to why they lose.
Sure. I think it's
Where's the but?
simplifying the Florida series down to I wish Ryan Reeves was out there to beat somebody up. Is like we spent a lot of time dissecting that series after every single
I don't
game.
think that's why they lost that
Yeah.
series. I mean, it's part of the reason they lost that series, but it's just there's yet another one where they're the second toughest team.
Right.
Yet another.
Yeah. You know, listen, people loved the fact that Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark used to run around like maniacs. Even though they probably shouldn't have been. They probably should have had players on that team that were lower down in the lineup, a la a Ryan Reeves.
Not even big.
To fight. No, they're not big.
Marner might be bigger than Gilmour.
Marner is bigger than Gilmour. I've stood next to... I'm taller than Doug Gilmour.
That's crazy.
And he was vicious, man.
And before you start talking about weight, like I don't think there's more than 10 pounds separating them.
Probably not. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And Wendell Clark's not a tall man either. He's broad. Very broad.
Crazy hands.
Yeah.
Insanely big
Big
baseball
hands.
mitt.
Yeah. I know. I'm really excited for the way the Leafs are going to play this year. Maybe I'm not on the. I'm not necessarily on this Steve. Oh, if they lose 7-2, I won't give a shit as long as Ryan Reeves fills somebody's face in. But I do think.
I don't want them to lose 7-2. I think I'm walking that one back.
Well, I think some people will. They'll tweet that like you were serious. But I do think when you look at
no way.
I think when you look at the way that the team's going to play, it's going to change significantly. The other question I have, and they didn't address this in the article, I still want to know what they think they have with John Klingberg. And what bothers me about that signing is Matt Dumba signed like a week later for the same amount of money.
I do not know. So people, I bump into them during the summer, and they're like, "What do you think? What's going on?" And I keep saying, "No, the team is too incomplete. Like I'm not going to judge them or whatever." And it was mainly because of their decor. Like I look at their decor, I'm like, they're not going into the season with that. And now we're a month away from opening night, and I'm like,
all Treliving said in the article was that it's a work in progress.